Welcome to Bet Doctor. It is episode number 2 and my name is Samantha Jane Todd. I'm here with Scoot and DK for an enormous weekend of racing.
Jeez,
welcome,
exciting.
boys.
Sammy, Scooty,
Yeah, I'm jumping out of my skin.
what's going on?
Mate, it's going to be a really big week, I think. It's I had a look at the bomb this week, and it's just going to be dry, hard and fast all around Australia, all the big states. So that's a dream for punters. We don't.
Good.
They're our perfect conditions, aren't they, DK?
Yeah, that's right. We want dry tracks. We want dry, good forward. I mean, bit of give.
Yeah.
Don't want your horse jarring up or anything like that. Same as the trainers. They want to get their horses back in one piece, but travelling in lockdown land, Scooty, for another week.
Yeah, it's a funny one. I haven't been up or outside stand-up paddleboarding like you, SJT.
Oh,
You've been in the bay, haven't you?
I have. I've been out there trying to get some tan happening because I am truly translucent. You can see my veins. It's atrocious.
Then 5K's the ocean, lovely. Well,
Lucky girl.
Lucky for some, yeah. We've got a new sausage dog that arrives today, and he's well and truly smashing my cash like betting bank. So I've had to dip in. It's a very expensive dog, let me tell you, and the freight cost a monkey. So I'm behind the eight
freight
ball.
costs a monkey. I can imagine what the dog costs.
Yeah, I know, mate. We're at all sorts, so can't wait for the races this week. What do we got, SJT?
Well, there's been a huge buzz. Obviously, we've had a couple of key races, barrier draws for key races coming up. So we've got obviously the Caulfield Cup, Kosciuszko and Everest.
The Everest.
That
Big weekend. One of the
big.
biggest now. They put the Everest on the Caulfield Cup Day.
Yeah, it was a classic. I think we've got a little social media competition, name the caption or caption this. There's a picture of Chris Waller with like a paper mache or a little fort Everest, and they've taken the shot to promote the Everest, and they've taken the picture back towards the beach at Bondi. So you've got the world's most amazing view, and they've created this like unnatural monstrosity, and they've turned the camera back the wrong way. And then you got Waller sitting on it. It is absolutely hilarious. Check it out at Bet Doctor TV. But
Nothing surprises you up there in North Korea.
some big races. Let's get into it, will we?
I think we shall. And the person to help us dissect a bit of Caulfield action is none other than Cam O'Brien. He has a tipping service called Champion Bets, and he is a Victorian and Western Australian specialist. We are in safe hands. Welcome, Cam.
Oh, thank you very much, and I hope you're in safe hands anyway.
You going, Cam?
No.
Good yourselves?
Yeah, going all right?
Yeah, we're airborne.
Good
Now, Cam, quickly, how did you get into the punt?
Started a long time ago. My dad was into it in the 70s and early 80s. He had he was doing weight ratings in the late 70s and early 80s, and he used to sell them on a newsletter at news agencies and things like this. And he actually ended up helping Don Scott with his class and weight rating tables for his books, The Winning Way, and those subsequent books. And so he got me reading The Winning Way when I was about 15, and it just really suited my brain. I just wanted to create weight ratings straight away, and got into it, and then ended up working for Mark Reed for a couple of years in Darwin, and sort of learned more about. I ended up after a while doing time ratings, and then sort of learned Mark's method as well, and sort of just kept learning in that respect, and then left IAS as it was back then, and started up my own database and started doing my own ratings, and trial and error, just sort of building it for a few years, and now I've just been rating them ever since. So we've got about sort of 15 years worth of time and weight ratings and sectional ratings in the database that I work off, and so it's been a long journey of rating the horses for me.
Gee, it's a fair stable, DK, coming through the Mark Reed system. How many traders and punters do you think, DK?
Enormous amount,
Maybe
and some high-profile ones too, like John Size. John Size is the big horse trainer in Hong Kong. Mark Sheen did time there, plus all the guys. James Jordan. He might have been a bit later at Sportsbet, but he was with the same crew of guys, learning off the same database and everything.
When I was there, Jared Toomey used to say that we'd have an IAS reunion and host it at the MCG.
Yeah,
they did work through some stuff, but that was the go there. My advice to go there when I went there was to be a sponge. Just you'll have to work hard, but make you just learn, just keep learning. And there's great people like, as Cam said, Jared Toomey was a real mentor there for a lot of us, and he was a great mentor as well as Mark.
Now, Cam, I'm just around the corner from Caulfield. I got the fertiliser out. A mate works in a wholesaling agricultural business. He gave me this new product called Lawn Porn. A little bit of a plug there, but it's fertiliser for the lawn. But I'm a little bit worried there's not enough water out at Caulfield Way, so I've watered the lawn a bit, and I'm sort of working towards a good 4. track.
Yeah.
How do you think the track will play?
Well, I was hoping there'd be a bit more rain because several weeks ago I took Cups double, actually, Very Elegant into Surprise Baby. And I'm still very happy with Surprise Baby. This was after Very Elegant's really good first up run. And so I was hoping for more rain for her chances. But, good for... I'd sort of worked on sort of a 5 at worst, and so it drained. It and Flemington drained so well that it would need consistent rain throughout the day to really affect it, wouldn't it?
Very Elegant has come into favouritism for the Caulfield Cup. So the barrier draw, there was a bit of buzz going on around that, so causing the pre-post favourite to drift. Anthony Van Dyke was $4.60, I believe, before the draw. Immediately out to $5, and now a massive $6.50 with topsport.com.au, which is the best price I can see anywhere for a very well-fancied runner now that it's drawn barrier 21.
Now, Cam, you've I sort of know you sort of traditionally have a pretty good handle on the internationals coming out here, and a lot of us locals, we don't. So I think your advice...
Help us.
Yes, help. I think this will be really important for people listening. So maybe if you can start off with your thoughts on the internationals.
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, on Anthony Van Dyke in that barrier 21, there's not a great deal of pace from the locals in the race. So Finch races near the pace, and he can lead and has led in the past, but he doesn't always lead. And whereas Dashing Willoughby and Anthony Van Dyke both race forward, Anthony Van Dyke has mapped back in the past as well, but often races forward. And from that gate from 21, I think they'll go across. I think Bowman will sit outside the lead in the end and sit outside Dashing Willoughby, who from barrier 2 will probably kick up. As I said, I think you'll get, and we've seen it a bit in the past where the overseas runners want to take up the running and try to make it a bit more of a true staying test. I don't think they'll be going nuts in front, but while he will have to use a little bit to get over from 21, I don't think it's as bad as it could have been for him. Because I do think he can get over if that's what Bowman's tactics will be. So, I've sort of penalised him a little bit for that, but not much. If he was a midfield settling horse, it would be a lot worse because he could just get posted out there for the journey. But because he can press on, I don't see it as much a disadvantage. So I'm sort of glad the market's drifted him because, look, if we start with him, he's the best horse in the race. He on figures, when I convert his time form figures to mine, so the strength of being able to get a hold of them for me and a handle on them for me is being able to convert their time form figures over to my figures well enough. And he's a multiple. On my figures, he's rated multiple times between sort of 118 and 120. And horses who get to 120 on my figures in Australia are the top line Group 1 horses. In fact, the only horse in the last year or two to get over 120 has been Nature Strip in Australia. Very Elegant's top is about 118, for example, but that's on the really nice wet tracks. Her best on dry tracks is 116. So he is the best horse in the race. And so it's been a matter of, how much energy will he use being, crossing to the breeze, which I think he will do. And he'll use some, but if he gets across pretty easily, then not too much. And if he can rate somewhere between 118 and 120, then he's going to be really hard to beat. And he's my top rater in that respect. As I say, I'd penalise him a lot more if I thought he was going to settle midfield. But if he gets across to the breeze and they're going moderate pace, he's so strong, he's going to be very hard to run down if he's near his top there. So he's my top rater. I make him with emergencies in the field, I make him about a $5 chance.
I used to have a theory with this race, and I think the race has changed complexion, and you need a genuine Australian weight for age horse that bypasses the Cox Plate to win it. Mongolian Khan was the horse that I sort of scooped up a couple of years ago at good odds, but I'm struggling to see in this year's field from the Australians a genuine weight for age performer, and I think you might be right with the internationals because Very Elegant's probably the classiest one of the lot, and I just think the race complexion has changed a little bit, and there's a little bit of a query over Master of Wine, who looks progressive, but he's had a stone bruise, and Simon, one of our listeners, has wrote a question in. He thinks that he's heard a rumour that horses can run well off a small foot issue or a little bit of a stone bruise because they run through the pain a lot. Do you know anything about that, Cam? Would you say it's true or false?
That would be news to me. I've never investigated that part of things. I'm quite data driven and ratings driven, and I don't get the results of stone bruise tests in the database, unfortunately.
That's as a punter. That's just trusting the good trainer to get the horse there
right on the day,
and you're backing him to do that. So you're backing backing him on the premise the horse is there to in 100% condition. But I'll just back to the tempo with the Anthony Van Dyke getting up on top of the speed. I think that is a positive because for the Europeans they like to go at a rolling tempo, as Cam was saying. In Australia we like to do the stop start, which doesn't which doesn't suit the Europeans. So if they can get up and controlling the tempo and running at a tempo that they appreciate, then that's definitely a positive. Yeah.
Yeah, well, watching his win last start, he was up on speed and he was getting challenged by Stradivarius, I think it was, in memory, and he just kept finding, and that's what they do. They don't have short, as TK just indicated, they don't have short-lived runs. They roll along and they maintain that run, and so it's if he gets in front in the straight, it'll take a very good horse to run him down because their runs don't end. You know, they keep running through the line like that. And in that respect, it's the same for the leader, Dashing Willoughby. Now, it's not a sort of polished. It's my third pick. My second pick's Very Elegant, but Dashing Willoughby's my third pick, and it's not a sort of polished. It did a bit wrong. I watched his win 2 back at Sandown, and it ran around. It laid in back to the rail, then it laid back out. It was doing like serpentine kind of snake manoeuvres down the straight, but it also found the line pretty well. It looks sort of quite promising. It's got a little bit of turn of foot about it, which is a good thing too. So if it leads and gets even tempo and then just sort of rails around the bend, it's going to be hard to run down. That's why I think those two are right in it, Anthony Van Dyke and Dashing Willoughby. And Dashing Willoughby's 25 to 1. That's an absolute bet at that price.
Big price. What about
often
pro punters trying to avoid the trickier races? Surely there's a nice little race in the rest of the card at Caulfield, a little gimme somewhere. You got a little bet for us out wider?
I don't at the moment. Sorry, mate. I'll be going through the rest of Caulfield today, but given the field for the Caulfield Cup was out so late last night, time of recording yet, I've got to get to the rest of Caulfield yet.
See my horse, Let's Crack a Deal's in. He's in. He's favourite again after what happened to him last time. Got held up the entire. How can you get held up the entire Flemington Straight?
Well, it's probably because you were on.
Because 500 metres. Yeah, he can be held up for that long. I don't know. Anyway.
Now, there's already a scratching in the Caulfield Cup. There's already a scratching of Actow, which is a good thing because I had no idea why the horse was in the race.
I think it was around $91, wasn't it?
Yeah, I had it a lot longer. That brings in the first emergency, but if the fourth emergency somehow got a run, that's Le Don de Vie. Its figures are good. It's better than the $73 it's currently at. It'd be as an each way little bet. It would be worth something, but it's probably unlikely to get a start. On the other one, Buckhurst is very well fancied. Was it $13 best at the moment, $12 most places. It's Joseph O'Brien, who obviously knows the right ones to bring out, and Ben Mallam, who is a very, I think, under-recognised jockey. He's a very, very good rider. And I was looking at some stats recently on jockey strike rates and profitabilities. There's not many jockeys who combine a high strike rate and a high profitability, and he's one of them. The two best ones in Victoria as far as strike rate and profitability are actually Ben Mallam and Jamie Carr. They both are able to combine strike rate, like he's got a strike rate of 16% the last sort of 18 months and a profitability of 6% on turnover backing all of them. And that's, to be able to combine those two is very good. So Mallam's someone you can sort of, like Jamie Carr, someone you can sort of back in. And he's on Buckhurst. It maps really well, so it's a solid chance as well. I think that I've got those three internationals in my top four. I think if they bring their A games out, they're going to be hard to beat. But Very Elegant is right in it as well.
Wow. Comprehensive, Cam. I absolutely love it. Big on debut.
Fantastic.
Yeah, no probs.
Thank you very, very much. So takeaway there is Anthony Van Dyke. You're a big fan?
Yeah, he's going to push around.
Imports. Yep.
And the imports, work around the imports. And probably if you're playing... Here you go.
I was just going to say, definitely Dashing Willoughby each way. At 25 to 1, you're going to get $5 a place or something. If it leads and gets its own way, it's a great each way bet.
Mirage Dance has been a bit of a mover from $26 into $17. What do you think about that?
Metrop form, probably 2 weeks?
It just needs to improve a little bit, and a lot of these do. You mentioned Master of Wine earlier. His figures this prep have been okay, but even at his top, getting his ratings up, even his top rating in his career so far is 114, so he actually still needs to go better than what he's been going. He's done 110 his last couple, and he can obviously go better, and if he's had little issues, hopefully they've been sorted out.
I'm off him.
But
I tipped him in the tipped him in the Turnbull. I thought he was a bit plain.
Yeah, a bit plain.
Yeah, and they've got to go better than that. That's not going to win. And Very Elegant was not near her top there on these dry tracks. Master of Wine is that one? Sorry, Mirage Dancer, I should say, as you said, who won the won the Metrop last week. Also did 114. He's got 115 figure, but they just need a bit more than that to be able to win with what those overseas runs can do and what Very Elegant can do at her top. She maps pretty well from the middle draw, and if she'll come out and do something like 116. If it got wet, she'd do her 118 like she did in the autumn. And then she's right in the race. But yeah, all those ones are just a little bit below for me.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, no worries. Good luck.
Another little cheeky around the ground for Caulfield. Race 5, number 5, Silhouette. Been back from $11 into currently sitting at $8.50. Topsport.com.au has laid it for a stack.
Wow,
some
smart money.
A little bit of cheeky side action for you.
I'll have to get into the puntingform.com.au database before I can tip anything in race 5. I only had a look at the key races at this stage,
It's pretty comprehensive.
The imports they always run well now these days. Now they're bringing out the right horses.
Exactly.
You could take them on a few years ago. You can't anymore.
Sometimes these horses will just drift in the market unfashionably because they've got the wide draw. So let's hope Anthony Van Dyke will keep doing that.
Dashing Willoughby at big odds too.
Yeah,
that sounds like
a strong tip. He loves
it. A leader too.
Yep. That's what you want. And especially at Caulfield, I think the profile of the Caulfield Cups, you want a horse in the first half of the field for memory for me.
And
definitely.
Generally, if it's a leader, might shorten in the market too. So 25-1 might be a good play.
Dashing Willoughby.
Excellent. Well, up next, we are looking at Sydney. Welcome back to Bet Doctor. My name is Sammy Jane Todd, and I'm joined by Scoot and DK.
Bit of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Good. Hey, smash the cans.
DK.
I used to love me wrestling.
He's a big
wrestling. Used to love it.
Yeah.
I used to. My youngest brother still does, and when pre-COVID, when they used to come out, we used to head off to and get down, pay big money, get down the front, because it was a once a year spend for him. And when the wrestling came out, good stuff.
Matty Taylor, Stone Cold Steve Austin as your theme.
Thanks for that intro. Really good. I've just broken a window and downed a few Budweisers here, so nothing like.
Must be Everest week.
Oh, what a week, eh? How exciting.
We have the barrier draw. Was it on the Opera House or what did they do on the Harbour Bridge?
Don't talk about the barrier draw. That's not on the run sheet.
Yeah.
That's not on the run. That's nasty, DK.
Supreme Leader Volandi's up there. Who knows what he's got to do something.
Yeah, he got his little jibe in, didn't he, about the smelly Yarra?
Yeah.
So predictable.
Can't help himself.
Now, Matty,
yeah.
Last week you saved me Montefilia, 370 into 270.
That actually paid for my month's rent. Thank you.
And gave Love Tap Windburn.
Yeah, well, I didn't think it'd be so firm, but no, it was good to, as DK said, it's hard to jump off a horse that you've had success with and switch to another runner, but look, it was the right call, and Sammy can pay the rent.
Now, Randwick's a little bit of a different scenario this week. It's back to rail true. It's a good four. The forecast and the weather is beautiful, as you say. What does that mean for the Everest picture?
Look, I think massive fields throughout the day, all day. So, no, I'm playing the track as, fairish. You don't really want to be stuck on the inside at Randwick with 20 sort of runners in a race. It'd be I think a day of looking for some value. Middle to wide barriers. So middle barriers are good coming down the centre of the track. I don't think it'll be leaderish, which is the one thing that most punters hate, just those leader inside days. So, it's a big day of racing, and I'm personally would be glad once the Everest is over, so they start talking about other races. But it's grand final day in Sydney.
Apparently. Top Sport is certainly treating it like a grand final day. They are betting everyone to win $10,000 right now and to win $50,000 once the official price is open. So that's enormous. Make sure you are staking responsibly for your financial situation. But if you did want to take advantage of it, it's on topsport.com.au. Make sure that you are looking after yourself and call Gamblers Helpline if you do need a hand on 1-800-858-858.
Now, Nature Strip backers would have felt the pinch last time, and we won't talk about that runner too much because last week you said that sort of off the boil, and I assume that you're sort of holding your line there, Matt. But who do you make the main chances in the Everest? Take us through the race from your eyes.
Okay. Look, Nature Strip. Yeah, I'm still on that path. I heard Waller mentioned that the horse has lung issues and they're trying to get it right. So it's such a scary thing like that. But as a punter, you can only work with what you see sometimes. When you're a manual punter, that's what I do anyway. So I won't be coming into Nature Strip at all. It appears to be 3 or 4 lengths off its best. Classic Legends, it's next in line in the market and was desperately unlucky in last year's Everest. And look, you did see it win impressively, and then it got run down by a horse called Libertini last start. So because of that, I really have Libertini high up in my estimations coming into this race. I think it's a Classic Legend Libertini sort of finish is where I'm sort of heading at this stage, and Gytra's flying, has great sectionals and all that sort of stuff, but it's just an age-old punting rule not to sort of take 1,000-metre form into 1,200-metre races. So even though, so because of that, as much as I think Gytra could run an okay race, I just can't come into horses off last start 1,000-metre runs.
Yeah,
DK?
That's a rock solid rule of mine. And that comes back, Matt would have got it to Mark Lambourne Pearl. Weren't very early days. 1,000-metre races are their own little thing way over there.
Yeah.
You know, they're just their own little island.
Yeah, those horses are built for sprints, and I think taking a little bit of a sit in 1,200 metres is a different kettle of fish. So as much as Gytra has the awesome figures and smashing the line, from a punting point of view, I couldn't take the 650.
Yeah. A horse that I think is I had the 1,200-metre query when I did the Gytra Trash sort of form, but the horse that I like that sort of seems a bit forgotten, I think he's a bomb second up horse, is Trekking. I think I backed it last year as well, and it was a really big run there. Does it look? Is it the best roughie for the race? Because I just know how good the Cummings stable are at setting these horses for these big races, and even another Forgive last start as a horse called Bivouac. I think Trekking and Bivouac look forgotten runners. What do you think, Matt?
Definitely. Trekking, I can see here, he got the better of Gytra, didn't it, in the Morphettville Group 1 there. If you're going to spruik Gytra, you have to screw Trekking. First up over 1,000 metres, almost got the catch, and it's fair to say it's probably a better 1,200-metre horse. So, it's a good roughie. Who else do I think is a good roughie? I like what Behemoth is doing. He can't be sort of forgotten. Hasn't been in this sort of form coming into a big. Well, this isn't a Group 1, is it? But coming into a race like this, there's no horse in better form than Behemoth as well. Not a Group 1 by stature, but technically it's a Group 1 field, obviously.
You've both missed the best roughie.
Enlighten us.
Tafane.
He
grows
Mark Lambourne's very keen on it.
Is he? Yeah, it's New South Wales. It runs up there. He had the 2 runs down the straight when he went up there in the autumn. And went enormous. His first run, he ran the Galaxy, and then he was back and wide, 3 wide out in no man's land, and had the temerity to work home for 4th by Nature Strip.
Yep.
This race is going to be, the speed's really good in this race on the weekend. And I think he'll just park back, and he'll be that one you said, charging down the middle.
Yeah,
Tafane. He's a bit of an X factor to me, that horse.
To quote the great Racing Rant guys, I went looking for it.
Did you?
And I couldn't find it.
I couldn't find it.
I ran out of. I just couldn't find it. But Matt and DK, we might go to Matt first. It's a good segue into the Kosciuszko. It's Me, dominant in the highway lead-ups. You said it. It's the horse to beat on a previous episode, Matt. It looks a machine. The numbers through punting form are just off the charts. But it's 1,000 metres to 1,200. So I know that there's there's 1,000. It's an island, the 1,000-metre races. But what's the biggest indicator that a horse is going to make the transition from 1,000 to 1,200? So not every horse can't run both distances. But what's the indicator that you can find, Matt, to tell us that It's Me's going to run the 1,200 strong?
Yeah, well, going into last start, the problem, inverted commas, with It's Me was it was 1,100 back to 1,000. That's why it was so easy in betting. It was $1.65 out to even money. It absolutely walked in. So you go back to its start before off the 1,100 metres at Brandwick, and it cruised in. So when I saw it win that race at 1,100, I thought it would love 1,200 metres, and that was the query. That was what caused the massive betting drift, because it's a massive drift. $1.65 out to $2 is a massive drift. And I think It's Me was about $9 for the Kosciuszko coming into that race last start.
Wow.
But yeah, what you're looking for is a horse that works through the line and wins nice and softly, I think, basically.
Yeah.
That's what I look for. What about yourself, DK?
Manners would be probably one of the biggest ones for
Manners.
me. It's because it's only very lightly raced, only been in the races 3 times. So the way he settles in those shorter course races, he doesn't get his head up and bit keen and things like that. So, being able to settle and finish off, like I said, it's not a steadfast
professionalism thing.
Yeah, professionalism. Yeah, and he's obviously he could be one out of the box, and if they're one out of the box, they can do things that other horses generally, can find difficult.
Yeah, well, It's Me was very well supported early, but it's sort of a little bit on the drift now for the Kosciuszko. $2.10 out to $2.45 with topsport.com.au front page having a bit of specking from $5.50 into $4.20.
That's interesting, because it was $2.50 when I sort of drove in to do the show, and someone's just nibbled the price, and I'm sort of starting to get itchy fingers. I saw that $2.50, and I thought, this could just be a punters club pushing job. Just get the syndicate involved there, because I think it'll start shorter. What do you reckon, Matt?
Yeah, well, a little bit of information has just come to hand that the horse has had some mucus. So. Yeah, it's just hit the Twitter stream and everyone's gone a bit crazy about It's Me. So
could have COVID.
Horse will be, horse has been given antibiotics, and they're going to. That was 24 hours ago, so they're going to still sneak it in, and it's going to vet it in the morning. So big controversy there if that horse comes out. But look, $2.45. Yeah, obviously it's getting very, very short now. Hopefully people are on it at a better price. But I mean, if I just woke up tomorrow and did the form and I saw $2.45 and I just ignored what sort of race it was and didn't know the background of this race, I would say this horse looks sort of like an odds jobby based on section.
Well, I thought you were going to say the M word then.
There's no such as the M word, trust me.
Yeah, I don't know if we've dropped the M word yet. We might save that for a special occasion.
Too good. Thank you so much. Matty Taylor from Racing Rand joins us for Sydney.
See you guys.
Thanks, Matty.
Up next, we're talking a bit of Perth action. We've got a couple of listed races. We've got the Norley Stakes running this weekend.
Terry Leighton from...
Leighton or Leighton?
Terry Leighton.
Leighton?
Yeah. Yep.
No, so it's late.
Leighton.
I would say it's Leighton.
Terry Leighton.
We'll work it out during this break and stick with us.
Play some poker, scratch my head, look at the sky.
You are listening to Bet Doctor. It is the behind the curtains look at how pro punters bet, and I'm joined by Scoot and DK as we head to Perth and talk to Terry. And Terry, we were having a bit of a chat before in segment 2. About your last name. We can't decide how it goes. How is it? Is it Leighton or Leighton? Give it to us.
It's firstly, thanks for having me, guys. And it's Leighton.
There you go, Scooty.
That's another losing bet.
I'm finding you a bottle of red for that.
Yes, it's Leighton. And can you spell my first name? That's probably the key.
T-E-double.
It's Terence.
Terence.
Oh, Terence.
Oh, okay. We can call you Terence.
Yeah, no, we don't want to go there. I shouldn't have announced that publicly, should I? Actually, no, cancel that one. My mum would be happy.
Terence, how did you find the punt, and how long have you been operating on it?
I started full time about 3.5 years ago. I sort of always thought I might have had an idea, but we all think I've got an idea after a few beers at the pub on a Saturday afternoon, and started recording while I was working for my government job. A little bit of a change of pace. I'm probably doing more work now than I did back then, actually, in all fairness. So, I shouldn't say that, should I? And then I decided to give it a crack after long service leave, and it all went pretty well from there. So 3.5 years later, I'm still holed up in a dungeon doing form for about 10 hours a day.
And Ascot, lots of pro punters sort of cast their eye onto Ascot. I think it's good as a time zone thing after, say, a Melbourne or a Eastern Seaboard race, but it's a small pool of horses, and that's a big advantage.
Yeah, it is. The track plays pretty... we just moved from Belmont, which can play very sporadically, and one day you get a rail where you can't move, and then another day you get a rail where if you're not on it, you can't win, basically. But Ascot is pretty consistent in the way it plays, and if we get a strong easterly or any type of real heat in the day, it makes it very difficult to make ground on the short straight. So I think it's just more the consistency of the track that a lot of punters like with Ascot.
Now, Terry, your Premier Jock has been landed over here in Victoria for the Spring Carnival, and he obviously has a bit of a huge impact on things over there. So how are you finding that, and who are the jockeys that have sort of been to benefit? I've had a quick look at the stuff I've got on Perth, and it seems Chris Parnham and Kyril, and even the Pontiff still going strong. The Pontiff, Paul Harvey.
The Pontiff's just come back, and we don't mind the Pontiff on a couple on Saturday. Actually, he's no one rides him harder than the Pontiff, but we are missing Mr. Pike. But Chrissy Parnham and Clint Johnston Porter are the two that are taking most of the Cerise and White mounts in his absence, and Chris Parnham has probably never ridden better. So I think he's thoroughly enjoying his absence. It probably wants him to move there permanently, I'd say, because he'll probably jag a few G1s if he does. But Kira Ewell in the country she's pretty hard to stop, and Mitchie Pateman's probably an underrated. I call him a money jockey. I never really priced him as one of our top few, and he rides them just as well as the majority. So they're the main ones we like to follow.
And looking at the big feature there, the Northerly Stakes, it looks wide open to my untrained Perth eye. Sammy might get a market, but I sort of had the chances around. I thought Massimo was well founded, and KC, if it's ready fresh, it'd be hard to beat. But Sammy, maybe get a market.
Yeah, Massimo $6, Red Can Man $6.50, Cup Night $7.50, KC $8, Money Matters also $8, Vital Silver at $8.50. That's the one that's had a little bit of specking from the guys at Top Sport. I've always been told to steer into the favourites just because of exactly as Terry was sort of alluding to earlier, that, you know, the same pool of horses, the same sort of tracks, the conditions are just everyone shoots pretty straight there.
Yeah.
But the money's been for Vital Silver. What's your take on that, Terry?
Well, that's the way I'm leaning, is with Vital Silver. I think you might find that Massimo will drift quite heavily on the day. Massimo's coming off. It was scratched in the Hannons at the gates, at the track, with some lameness in the off-hind. It was coming up for about its 13th start, this preparation. It's now about 5 weeks between runs. I think there'll be a lot of people very, very happy taking on Massimo in his hardest test to date. I think it's a race where I'm probably going to have egg on my face, but I'm happy taking on a lot of the fancies here. I think KC, Neville Parnham's been publicly quoted saying he thinks the horse will probably need the run. She's obviously a great mare, but first up 1400 against probably, it is, again, her biggest test to date. She obviously won a Group 1, but that was when you get to carry 50 kilos as a 3-year-old filly. So this is a different kettle of fish, but if you run this race 30 times, you probably, there's probably 20 different results. It's a really cracking addition and a great lead up to the Railway Stakes. But no, I'm with Vital Silver. On the surface, his run looked somewhat disappointing in the Blackheart Bard a couple of weeks ago, but I just don't think that he was suited trying to lead. Peter Hall then handed up. He never settled in the run. And then when he went to make his second run, which most horses can't do, he simply had horses like Cup Night and Stage Man who are super, super sharp right on his back, and they were always going to run quicker splits from there. So look for the stable to tell Joey Azzopardi, who replaces Peter Hall, and Joey actually would have had the choice of riding Money Matters, who is slightly thinner in the market, so that's a little tell, I'd suggest. Look for him to keep Vital Silver out of trouble and probably replicate something we saw in the Manicato over your way late last year, where Benny Mellum circled the field with him, and just keep him out of trouble and grind, and that should really work to his strength. So I think I think near $10 each way or whatever it is there on Top Sport is a pretty good little price for a horse whose only blemish at Ascot was when running second in a Group 1. So.
Excellent, Terry. You've got a couple for us in other races on the card. Do you want to tip us into a few
Short moral. We need
Getting good things over there, Terry.
The M word.
We do actually. Yeah, we do. This is just about a money back guarantee, I reckon. So no, we won't go that far.
We'll chalk that with a bang.
Do you know how many trouble I've gotten? How many trouble I've gotten saying that in the years at the pub with the lads? In the first, we're going to get our money in and out in race 1, then we can play with it for the day. A horse called Without Reason. Currently, there isn't much up in the way of prices, but I think expecting we'll see something around $3.50. Big loping grey. They'll send him forward. He'll either lead or breeze, and they won't see him again. There's absolutely nothing else in that race, and he's the only stayer with any scope in the race. So our best in the first. Get it in, get it out. Off we go.
It's a lure job. It's a lure job. Jumps on the lure. We love them. We love the lure jobs.
Never in doubt. It'll never be in doubt.
Beautiful.
Right, next up.
Race 3, bit less exciting, but this is a horse I've actually backed for the Kingston Town already, and it's in a 58 plus. So if it's going to win a Group 1 in a month and a half time, then it should be winning this. It's named Secret Plan. It's one of the Cerise and White runners that William Pike would be riding if he was here. Chrissy Parnham's on. It's actually a sharp little field, but again, it looks like we're going to see near $3, and this is the horse who could be Group 1 standard. So if you're looking for something a bit more value as well, and you want to hop into a futures market, he's currently $41 for the Kingston Town, which is run on the 5th of December. Don't quote me on that. It's the first Saturday in December. The last 5 of the last 6 Kingston Towns have the favourite has been Bob Peters, the Cerise and White's best 3-year-old at the start of the year. So one of my favourite punting theories over the journey was always pick out what you think is Bob Peters' best 3-year-old and back it for the Kingston Town straight away. So I mean, in years gone by, we got 40-1 Arcadia Queen, who started $1.90.
Yes.
We got 40-1 Perfect Reflection, who started $3.50. A couple of losers in there too. Perfect Jewel started $5.50. We got the 40s. Even Windstorm was favourite before it broke down last year. We got the 50s. That was into about $6. So it's just it's a theory which is timeless at this point in time, until I've just ruined it with telling everybody now. So
terrible. Fantastic. Well, you've heard it here first, that's for sure. I'm getting the wind up. If you want more of Terry's phenomenal work, you can catch him. Terry Leighton. Terrence.
Leighton, that's it.
Terrence Leighton. You can find him on Twitter at Perth Racing Guru.
Topsport.com.au are Australia's biggest betting bookie. They take on everyone betting massive limits. If gambling's a problem for you or a loved one, please call Gamblers Help on 1800 858 858.
Stay with us. We are looking at Adelaide. I love it. Welcome back to Bet Doctor. My name's Sammy Jane Todd. I'm here with Scoot and DK.
Yeah.
And we are a little outfit by thelittlebirdiepod.com who are now specialising in racing.
Yeah, we've got a horse racing show.
Sport of Kings.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Inside look into the pros. And one pro that we have with us is Shane Adair. Shane, welcome.
Yeah, Barracuda. I was tapping away to that song.
Mate, you saved us.
Cup day, mate. This Friday. Very exciting.
The time-honoured Murray
First
Bridge
things
Cup.
first, though, Shane. You saved us. Ain't no deal done. It won on its ear last weekend, and then you spotted the roughie too, which looks like a Victorian Oaks type. Victoria Key, also by Dundee. Well done, mate. Hat tip there. You got the Quinella for us.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a nice run by Victoria Key. Yeah, it's definitely got something to follow there for punters going forward, I feel.
Yeah, it was eating up the ground late, wasn't it?
Yeah, 51 into about $15.
Barring you, didn't he?
Barring Vorster, his calves, the big calves of steel. Now, Murray Bridge Cup, you've done the form. Help us.
Yeah, well, it's the second of 2 big provincial cups here in South Australia. We had the Balaclava Cup about 4 weeks ago. Murray Bridge is the second one. 4 of those runners will bring across Balaclava Cup form lines. I think the winner of the Balaclava Cup, winning partner, is the one to follow for the Murray Bridge Cup on Friday. Heavily backed, stormed home, and I think the key to this horse is the good track. It's got an exceptional record on a good track. Looking at the race shape, there's not a lot of speed engaged in the event. I think Aqueduct can get a very soft lead. It's been super impressive for the Michael Hickmott yard since arriving. Look, I think the market's pretty well got it spot on from a betting perspective. Winning partner is around that $4.50 quote. Aqueduct's around $3.80. Probably take a little bit of winning partner early. Hope Aqueduct will drift out. We can back the other one at around for that $4.40, $4.50 mark. Can't see too much else really troubling those two outside of them.
Yeah, I thought the two favourites were sort of obvious. I was interested in Dannon Roman. First up, New Stable, and then Regalio Di Gaetano. I thought they were the longer shots, but yeah, you're probably right. The horses up in the market look to be the go. Now, Shane, just a little curveball, Murray Bridge. It's famous for its AFL. Who would you say the best AFL player from the Murray Bridge region would be in history?
Murray Bridge, I would probably say, not that my knowledge of Murray Bridge AFL football
Chad Wingard?
Chad Wingard. We'll run with Chad. Chad, he's a superstar. And being a Port Adelaide man, he gave me a lot of good times, Chad, when he was at the club.
Now, looking at Saturday at Adelaide, we'll fast forward another day. There's an interesting runner, and I thought she was maybe 1,000 guineas filly and sort of Spectre, but Quietly Discreet takes on Celestine in Adelaide. Which way do you lean there? Are you with the favourite, Quietly Discreet, in race 4?
Yeah, that's a very good race at that one. Race 4 is the final of the Rebel Raiders series. Nice little support card by Randwick and Caulfield too for the Rebel Raider series final. It's nice to see the other states pumping up. Big day. Look, I thought there was a few questionable at the 1,200 metres, and look, Quietly Discreet won't get its all way up the front. There's a fair bit of speed engaged, but a lot of them don't have 1,200 metre form, and as DK would probably attest to, anything under 1,200 is pretty much just form at that distance range. We want to see a strong 1,200 metre gallopers. I thought one down the bottom would be a sneaky place chance for us at around $4 the place. Bo Rosser from the Will Clarkin yard. Good run last start. It has a lot of ability. I think Will wouldn't be taking it to this grade unless it had the ability to probably be taking this out. It's been inspected in early markets. $4 a place for Bo Rosser. I think that's where we can head.
Just quickly, Shane, you've got a couple of South Australia's got a couple of representatives in the big races on the weekend. You got the good horse, well, both good horses, G-Tra in the Everest and Delasan in the Caulfield Cup. You think Delasan's going well enough to win a Caulfield Cup this year?
Look, personally, I'm not sure it's up to winning the Caulfield Cup. The horse is going well enough, but look, I thought it was sort of found out in our Derby. It may be more of a 2,000 metre horse personally.
Yeah.
I thought the 2,400 may test it out, but we'll definitely be cheering it on. And G-Char, obviously in the Everest, will be right up to its ears. It was excellent against Nature Strip a few weeks back. And Gordon Richards, he could train my daughter's rocking horse to win a race at the moment. That's how good he's going.
All right, beauty. Thanks, mate.
Thank you, guys. Speak to you soon.
Hey, mate.
Thanks, bud. If you want to find more of Shane, it's Dead Set Racing SA. He's got a podcast that's wall-to-wall of Rattle Raid, just Rattle Raid form for those. You know, I always get to late in the day and you always see yourself flicking through the form for race 7 and 8 at Adelaide just to try and blast out or get further in front. You're probably not as sick as me, are you, DK?
No, I was sick. I'll go Perth. Perth. 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
No.
Now we've got
don't chase your losses.
We've got Terry Leighton though to help us at Perth now. So
yeah,
I thought he was really, really good on today's show. And how's the theme of the show today? It's all of a sudden, you know, we're talking about the Caulfield Cup a lot, but there's this big theme around 1,000 metre horses and then jumping to that magical 1,200 metre distance. So it's a big asterisk around the 1,000 metre form, isn't it? It's probably the lesson learnt today. What was your favourite bit of the show? Okay.
Yeah, no, Terry, Cam, hearing for Cam. I'm blind on the imports, so that stuff from Cam, the information, I think it was key for the punters. The listeners should really take it on board. So, and just I've got a little. I can't get wide enough. If Oka and Horsham Fields aren't out yet for the weekend, or I'll be blasting away. But tomorrow night at Pakenham, race 2, Gian. It's run 2 really good races in good maiden so far. So it's knocking on the till. I thought it might win tomorrow night, Gian, Pakenham.
Well, you took the words out of my mouth, Scoot. I thought the 1,000 to 1,200 metre difference is a really good little betting nugget that our listeners can take away. It's something that you can remember, just use that going forward. I think that's
add it to your punting repertoire there. And that's what it's about. It's just trying to pick up all these different pearls and adding strings to your bow, and we'll try and get through as many as we can on Bet Doctor, and we'll get all different talent from all around Australia to try and help put the puzzle together.
And if you want more from us, head to @BetDoctorTV and you'll find our podcast released every single Thursday. Thank you for joining us.